Back to the Coombe Valley Campers live channel, where I am in my garage in Bexhill in East Sussex, England, stripping the paint. Now, this corner here, it's the last panel to do. It's the last panel. I'll take you around later, but we have stripped nearly, whoops, something's falling down in the background. I have stripped nearly all of this vehicle from what you see right here to basically this finish here. This is the original paint. And what we're doing on this channel right now is removing all of this hand-painted paint and this rust down to the original paint. Now this panel here in particular, and do excuse me, in my rush and panic, in my rush and panic to make sure I was live at 8 o'clock, I actually spilt some of my CLR, which is one of the products I use, but hopefully we should be able to get away with it. But what I'm going to do is come down to about your level, right about here, and just sort of explain for those who have never seen it before. Oh, we've got the ramblings of John. He's in. He says, "Evening, boss. Good evening." Just explain what we're doing here. And one of those things is trying to preserve as much of this old beta as we can. Now, this bus VW camper, this originated, as far as I know, from Georgia in the US. And as far as I know, it's either been sat in the woods or sat in a scrapyard for many, many years. It came to the shores of the UK about 5 years ago now and got dumped at my workshop so I could make an assessment for it then to be sold. Then lockdown happened and it kind of stayed outside the workshop for about a year. And I thought, fine, it's up to me to bring this back to life. And I've kind of sat on it since. And I've really enjoyed the process of just working on it slow time, just reviving this paint. And like I say, we've done like 90% of all the paint work, excluding the roof that is, but 90% of the bodywork and reviving it. And what I'm going to do with you today is start getting this back. And I'm going to use a slightly different method. So hold your horses. I'm going to use a slightly different method that I have done in the past, just to show you the sort of difference that the different products can make. And I'm not endorsed by anybody or anything, but this is a product called CLR, Calcium Lime and Rust Remover. And you'll see very quickly, if I start rubbing this onto this paintwork, it will soon go from this rusty surface and blue to a bright blue, and then I can go back in with the rust remover and, the paint remover, which is just behind you, and then go ahead and bring this back to white. But let's go back to the comments real quick. The Ramblings of John says, drinking decaf coffee and trying to rescue files from a PC. Well, best of luck with that. Taxi driver, it's one of the good friends of ours from Campers and Coffee, which is one of our events. Says, good evening, Leigh, from me and the cats and kittens. Brilliant. Russ 1046 says, evening. I'm not late for a change. Well, it's really, really good to see you all. Thank you so much for commenting. Last week was a bit of a hit. We managed to get to 100 thumbs up and likes by the hour, just over the hour. It was absolutely amazing. So if you are watching, you are wondering what we're about, in the meantime, just hit the thumbs up button. Now, if you double tap the screen right in front of you or the one you're watching on, that'll give a thumbs up, and it just helps us out, helps push this video out to more people. So if you're watching, you like what you see, double tap that screen, or in the top right hand corner of your screen, there should be 3 dots. Just give that a hit, and then you'll be able to see, you can give the video a like, and maybe the channel even a subscribe as well. We're so close to that 100K. I think we're just over 2,000 away from 100K views, which is absolutely incredible. So there we go. So we've got VWing 7497. He's in. I think that's Simon. Is that Simon in? Evening, Leigh and the CVC family. Thanks so much. Right, so without further ado, I'm going to grab my drink. What are you guys drinking tonight? I have just got a brew tonight. I've got a tea NATO, as we used to call it in the army. That is white with 2. So I've got a tea NATO. I'm going to swap this kneeling pad round because, like I said, I just spilt my CLR on the floor, which was very, very, very stupid of me. Ramblings of John says, did you manage to get the steering column sorted? Do you know what? I did. As it turns out, the steering column I bought was for a later one. And it turns out this is a 1 year only vehicle. Or the 68, 69 is sort of a 1 year only thing. Man, all my gloves are soaking now as well. Rubbish. So let me go and get some more of that CLR. This is going to tell me not to have continuous contact with the skin, isn't it? Oh well. Iron skin irritant. Yeah, so I'm going to put some gloves on under this. Bear with us 1 second. Yeah, so the steering column I managed to find. I found one through a wanted ad on social media, on one of the early bay groups on Facebook. Where's my glubbies? There they are. From a wanted, yeah, a parts for sale and wanted page on Facebook. I put a post out and a lovely guy got in touch and said, look, I've got the bit. And he did me a great price. And it's not mint, it's just used, much like the rest of the van. But he had it shipped and communication was excellent. What a top guy, a proper good seller, a really good seller. So, right, I've got my rubber glove on first. I'm going to put my tough glove on as well. Fill up my tub with some CLR and get straight onto it as well. But yes, yeah, successful week last week. It was really, really good to hang out with all of you. And like I say, I'm going for a slightly different method this week because all I'm using is the green juice, the CLR, and I'm going to hit that on all of the panel first. Let's spin you around a bit so you can see what we're up to. And then what this will do is remove most of that rust staining first. So I'm going to hit most of the panel today. Again, we'll try and get as much of this panel done as we can. Maybe if I push you back a bit, you'll be able to see more. Come on. There you go. There you go, you see the whole panel there. Right, so yeah, I'm going to hit as much of the panel as possible. Now, you may not be able to tell on camera, but this panel in particular is the worst damaged. Whether it was just pushed around in the scrapyard, or whether this was the last damage it had before it got retired to the scrapyard, I don't know. But this panel in particular, and you'll see eventually, is the worst damage. Right down here, it's got a huge whack up the back. But I think with some clever people and a bit of patience, we'll be able to revive most of that. Now you can see straight away that rust is starting to disappear. And we're starting to get some grime off the paintwork, and that blue's actually starting to pop. And I was thinking about this the other day. I reckon all this hand-painted paint that this van had on it has probably saved the van. Ramblings of John says no squeaky elbow this week. No, we're working on more of a solid part this week. Yeah, so I reckon the blue paint actually saved the van, because the white is just so good underneath. Right, I'll give that initially just a quick wipe. You see that all that rusty bit's gone and that blue's starting to come out, and what that's going to do, because I'm using an abrasive, I reckon that will key the surface ready for the paint stripper, and will actually make it a more successful paint strip. So if I'm going to drop you down, bring you down right here so you can sort of see the change in this bit. See, this is the worst damage here, from about here down all the way across. There's a massive crease here. Yeah, I reckon that's going to be pretty bad. But yeah, I think if I just hit it with this, it's going to be a bit of a transformation. Now, what we do on this channel, if you're new to this channel, if you've never seen it before, we do a bit of a Q&A on this channel as well. So if you've got any questions about camper vans, camper van conversion, working on vans, travel, European travel, I'm here to answer your questions as well. But for the most part, it's just a nice place to hang out. You know, you guys may well be at home just hanging, kids are in bed, or you've got everything ready for Monday morning. You're just kicking back in your favourite chair, or wherever you get some peace. I hear you guys, don't worry about it. Guys and girls, that is. Sometimes you just need an hour out, don't you? And we can just hang out together. There you go. So the chat's a little quieter tonight, which is kind of nice. Sometimes I'm just talking, aren't I? But at the same time, we try and get the word out there. So if you're watching this and you think there's somebody out there that might fancy watching some guy in East Sussex scraping down a van, trying to revive some paint in the false hope that he can make it look half decent, let me know, or let them know. But yeah, if I just bring that back now, look, straight away, all the rusty staining is starting to go. And even down in this section where it was really bad, look, it's coming out quite nice. I guess you just compare from here forward to here back. It's already a huge change. I'm gonna have to find me another cloth because that thing's got soaked. There we go. Right, let's use that one. Boom, check it out. And even down here, it's pretty crazy how that blue and even the white starting to come through already. I do love the patina on this car, it's quite incredible really. This thing's going to need some straightening out, it's pretty bad. Hi Leigh, do you have any recommendations for camper van insurance? I'm renting them out. David Winters. Now, we use a company called Howden Modified Van Insurance. And we have a deal with those guys that if you call them and quote Combe Valley Campers, then they should be able to help you out. If you need more of an individual quote, maybe send us an email there, David. Send us an email and we'll get in touch with Howden ourselves explaining your situation. So yeah, send us an email and yeah, I'll get in touch with the man, our contact over there. He'll be able to hook you up, I'm sure, especially if there's a fleet. Russ says, I'm making sandwiches for packed lunches tomorrow. It gets in the way of typing. Yeah, I bet. VW says, nice chilled day, Christmas decks up. Do you know what? We've just put our tree up for the first year ever. We put our bloody tree up in November. Now, I know for most that sounds ridiculous, and to me that sounds ridiculous as well. Never ever considered putting my tree up in November, but spread the love, spread the joy. Let's get that tree up. It's been a pretty tough year, so to get that tree up early is kind of nice. And also, it's only going to be up for another 3 weeks in our house. We disappear on like the 19th, 20th of December this year to go over to Poland to see the wife's family. So let's have the tree up for as long as possible. The Ramblings of John says, I'm insured with Howden. Wicked. Right, I'm going to take a swig of my tea. And I'm going to hit this section here with the paint stripper. But let's look at this bit here. If I wipe that, you'll be able to see already. Let me show you a bit of a close-up. So for those of you who have not seen this before, let's spin you around. There we go. So this is all the bits we've done. And for those regulars, I'll show you what I managed to do the rest of the week. Now, I needed a bit of time to myself in the week, so I went ahead and did some detail work on the door. This is the door we were working on last week. I've now finished that step entirely. Gone all the way around the front of the door. And what I've even done is done the inside of the door as well. I haven't even done the inside of that one yet, but I did the inside of this door. Now, to the naked eye, this looks really rough. But all of this was blue in here. All underneath was blue, but this is all now, there you go. There's even remnants of the blue down there, mainly because I can't really get in there. But yeah, all inside the door was blue like that, but I've managed to bring it all back. All of the inside of this door was stained like this one. So you can tell it doesn't take a lot to actually bring that back. So super happy. And don't forget, this panel looked just like that one. And all of this rough stuff looked just like this one. So Handy Andy said, how are the hinge pins and bushings? For the door, not too bad, actually. I don't think this is a high mileage truck. Now, these aren't the original clocks. It doesn't come with any clocks. But even if I lift that door and check out the hinges, there's no movement in there at all. And it shuts fairly even. It needs a bit of lifting. And there's no lock in it at the moment. There you go, ramblings of John. That's the noise that we heard last week. So there you go. Managed to get a lot of that door done. So, as you can see, that's kind of what we started off with 10 minutes ago. And already that rust staining has completely gone just by using the CLR stuff down here. And even the difference between the back part and the front part, that was a quick 30-second rub on there. And then all of this window frame was exactly the same as this window frame. So you can see how well it comes up when you put a bit of elbow grease on in there. Right, so if I flip you back around again, let's hit this area with the real satisfying stuff. Now, who have we got? I'm with Adrian Flux as taxi driver, campervan insurance. Ashley says, Howden is good as well. I have my taxi and minibus insured with them. VWing says, got some spare decks. I'm making something for top of van. More to be revealed at the Campers and Coffee. Brilliant. Notchy Official says, all right, mate, how's it going? Yeah, very good, thank you. And he also says, are you in the UK? Yeah, absolutely. We're down in East Sussex. Goggy says, I've looked at the cost of splits against new vehicles. Some splits cost a lot more. Yeah, they do, depending on the condition. But as with everything, buy the best you can afford. Right, swig of tea. Good stuff. Now, quick question for you guys, the regulars who are watching. How do you find the sound? Now, I know a lot of you guys, you watch a lot of YouTube, or you watch different YouTubers, and I've noticed quality of sound is a huge thing. Oh, Notchy Official says, I'm going to sub to you. I'm South East England. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, we're down in East Sussex, my man. Yeah, so how's the sound on the videos? Do you think I need a lapel mic? DJI have just brought out a really cool little iPhone compatible lapel mic, and I've used them before. I've used them recently. Here you go, you ready? So Ramblings of John says sound is good. Sound seems clear and decent on this live. Thank you, man. I think maybe it's because I'm in a garage with no ambient noise, so to speak. Right, so this is the paint remover, Paint Panther paint and varnish stripper, and so we're just going to start laying it on the area. I'm not scrubbing or anything yet, just using this as sort of a cloth. Just going to get that paint stripper worked in, fairly big area, and then that can sort of sit and stew and do its thing. And already, even with that light rubbing, you can kind of see that the blue started to get in there. But yeah, just wiping it on. And you can see in some places it's starting to do its thing. Man, the smell is bad. And then make it a bit wet again. I'm just going to start hitting it. So from here to about here, I'm going to do this whole area. Watch with your very eyes as it turns white. You wait, this is going to be a tough panel now. Yeah, already real clogged. Notchy Official says, do you need PPE for doing this? Well, I'm in a well ventilated garage and I've got some glovies on. So I'm going to open that door at the back just a bit more. Now you've pointed it out, I appreciate that, but now you've pointed it out, I'm just going to open that door a bit more. And I'm going to crack this one open behind me, just a crack. Not all the way, otherwise it hit my wife's car. There you go. Hi Leigh, rubber dub dub, wax on wax, there we go. That respirator, is there any lead in that paint? How old they are? NP. Do you know what? I don't know. Haven't had it tested. Somebody come up with this question before. I mean, to be fair, I've been doing this paint removal thing for about 18 months now, on and off. And I haven't gone too crazy yet. Will it have a lasting effect? Don't know yet. But yeah, it quickly renders these pads useless. So I go through quite a bit of it. Russ says you should be fine if you're not licking it. I hope so. But you can see now, you can see the lines in the paint where obviously someone's brushed it on in the past. That one's dead already. Oh, I'm a little bit chilly now that door's open. It's alright. Better to be safe than cold, eh? Yeah, we find that there are some more stubborn areas than others. Some of the paint's laid on a bit thicker than other areas. You just got to keep working at it really. Change hands, press a bit harder, press a bit lighter, use a bit more solution. All comes off eventually, as you can see. I did actually bring all of my electric stuff home. I've got my soldering iron, some wire, some heat shrink, ring connectors, spade terminals, all sorts of stuff. Because what I was hoping is that I was going to get on this a bit earlier today. And I didn't. Because we decided to do a Christmas tree instead, which was really fun with the girls. There you go. I tell you what, I'm going to clean that bit just so you can sort of see the before and after. Rhodey Higgs says, why not use power tools? Would power tools create a lot of flat spots and cause a ton of extra prep work to paint? Yeah, I'm not using power tools, and I know it sounds nonsensical, but it's because I'm not trying to strip the paint. I'm trying to carefully remove this hand-painted blue. That's not working, is it? That's not what I use. I'm trying to remove the hand-painted glue paint to reveal the OG factory white paint underneath. And as you can see, it's actually doing pretty well. Now, long process, back-breaking process, yes. But as you can see by the panel I've already done, and the rest of the van I've already done, if I bring you around there, it's quite an effective method. It's just pretty hard work. Right, Kurt Winkler says, what are you dipping the Scotch-Brite in? So the Scotch-Brite's being dipped into this Paint Panther paint and varnish remover. It looks kind of like slime from the Ghostbusters. Pretty potent stuff, but not as potent as the old Nitromors. But according to reviews online, this is the best out there after what the old Nitromors was like, before they removed the active ingredient that used to be super good. So yeah, but it's kind of nice that it isn't too potent, because I can just go in gently, and if bits are being a bit stubborn, I just concentrate on that bit for a little bit. If it doesn't come off straight away, I'll leave it a bit, which means the paint stripper's working into it a bit more, and I'm not actually damaging the original 54-year-old paint. What's it, 1960? 56-year-old paint. 56-year-old paint. So it's kind of like archaeology, really. We're trying to remove the layers to get to the original stuff underneath, and you can see it clogs it up really, really quickly. So I buy this Scotch-Brite off the roll, and I'll show you the roll in a minute because I've got to cut some more up anyway. But yeah, you'd be surprised at how effective it is, just with a bit of patience and a bit of elbow grease. I'm very proud of the fact that we've done all this by hand. And yeah, I think power tools, you can quite easily they can get overpowering. Or if you're just trying to concentrate on a little bit, and I've used grinders and sanders and everything else on different things in the past, but it's the one thing I didn't want to use on this. Because even if it's an orbital sander, you start getting swirl marks in. Whereas if this works on the white paint at all, it's only going to leave quite light scarring, if anything, which in reality is just scrubbing the old dirt off the original paint. And then we go back in with the compound and polish. Should bring it right up, really. Yeah, Notchy says, are you going to mop the white paint underneath or repaint it? Yeah, so I think it's going to need a wet sand, just a very, very light wet sand, just to level it out. And then we'll go in and buff it, or whatever surface or whatever finish we're going to put on it. So we want to put a clear coat of some form on top of it. And then I will obviously read the instructions to see what I need to do to the base coat before I spray that on. So does it need a key? Does it need to be super fine polished? Can it just be left as is? So yeah, there you go. We're slowly working on it, and with a bit of perseverance, it's coming to be a thing. And it's pretty dull for you guys to watch, but I've been doing this a while now, and you keep tuning in, which is lovely. Like the busiest week we've ever had, we had something like 50,000 people watching an hour, which blows my mind. I guess it just depends on how the algorithm's feeling at the time, and what sort of people tune in, and whatever it may be. You know, if it's a quiet news day, people just go onto YouTube, I guess. Go onto the live, see what's happening. So, I'll show you my roll of Scotch-Brite. Now I've used up both of those two. So I can buy this, I think it's like a 10-metre roll, maybe more. Sorry, quick swig of my tea. Yeah, I think it's like a 10, maybe even 20-metre roll on Amazon. And I just cut the bits off I need, which is really handy, because if you buy this in like packs of 10 of this size, it can get quite expensive quite quick, especially if you're burning through it as quickly as I am. But this is cheap work, isn't it? In the grand scheme of things, this ain't costing me a great deal. And I kind of like hanging out in the garage with you guys, or just on my own. It's kind of nice. But yeah, it's seeing those strokes where the paint's thinner and thicker. Someone literally hand painted this with a brush way back when. And who knows? We can only speculate, guess. What's annoying is when you've got a great big blob somewhere and you then have to pick away at it, because you've got a danger of actually rubbing through the white paint in an effort to try and get the big blob off. Yeah, even here's really, really thick. Fills up. Rambling says, will you wrap to the underside? Sorry, I missed a comment up there. Russ says, I did Nitro Moors of Vesper about 25 years ago. That stuff didn't show much mercy. No, they didn't back then. Will you wrap to the underside? No, do you know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at actually getting the bottom ice blasted. Because I don't know if you follow many of the VW pages, but Herbs Resto, he has been using ice blasting for underneath fans, and I know how solid this is, and it's got a coat of really old wax oil on it, and I'd love to be able to take this somewhere and get the bottom ice blasted, and then once it's ice blasted, give it a really good detail underneath, because I want the top side to kind of look all patinaed and ratty, and the underneath and the interior just look mwah, super, super nice. Not necessarily show worthy, but highly detailed, because that's where it matters, right? Keeping the thing running, and you've got to keep the thing nice on the inside, because that's where you spend most of your time. The outside, I don't know, I'm preserving it. I don't care what anybody else thinks about the outside, really. I just know it's going to look cool, or in my opinion it's going to look cool. What do you use for primer to protect from rust? In this case, it's just going to be a top coat. Depending on, I mean, I'm no body guy. I'm not a bodywork specialist at all. I'm a hobbyist when it comes to bodywork. So I'm not the right guy to ask about primers. I guess it depends on your car, the age of vehicle, the type of top coat you're using. There's so many different variables. In this case, I don't think there's going to be much in the way of primer. It's just going to be prepping the top surface and an undercoat going on top. Right, so there you go. I'm going to leave that as that, and then you can just see how it comes back. Taxi driver says, some of my friends have just come back from Krakow. They said it was an amazing place. Would like to go back there. Yeah, it's brilliant. Notchy Official says, I'm pretty sure Ed Sheeran drives one of those. Oh, maybe. Our Discovery 5002 has said hi with a wave. Thanks so much. Guitar Shop Folkestone, are you using water or spirit? On this sponge, and in my wife's measuring jug, is just water. It's already gone quite brown, but that's just a water and like a microfiber towel, just to neutralize it really. But then once this stuff has a bit of solution on it, it's like magic, isn't it? Look at that. That has come right back. Let me give you a closer, detailed look once I've given it a dry. And you just see, like, this is why I'm doing this. Just because I know it's going to come out super nice eventually. Right, I'm going to take my glove off if I can. No, I probably can't. Right, so I'm going to flip you around. So, first of all, this is what this whole panel looked like 35 minutes ago. And that's what it looks like now. Excuse the flickery lights, I've got LEDs in here. we're going to work on this area now. I'm going to go down here and across, and you can see how much damage is in this. Around here is the worst, but with my friends and body shop people I know, we're going to push this out. I don't really want to weld anything here at all, so we're just going to push and pull and see what we can do. And this is the rest of the bus that we've managed to do already. Everything looked like this, everything. And if you go back onto my YouTube channel, there's a whole video on this bus, but it's pretty good. Taxi driver says, did you get my email regarding the shop blasting? I think that was a couple of weeks ago. Yes, I did, thank you. Right, hang on, let's see if we can flip you around. There we go. Right, so I'm going to bring you down a bit lower. There we go. And we're going to work on this bit today. We'll see how much we can do of this panel, but I'm already finding that this is quite thick. Gosh, these gloves are soaking already. Right, I've got one sort of quarter left on this, so I'll make a start with that. And this is going to be the interesting bit, where it goes from this brown back to white. I'll cut straight through here. Whoops. That can move out of the way now. So yeah, we'll start prepping all of this with our first layer of paint remover, varnish remover. Has there already been some welding done around the wheel arch? Not this wheel arch, the other side. I think way back when it had some accident damage and they welded in a corner. But that happened a lot on these buses. Either that or the battery tray rotted out. So, right, there you go. First layer of this stuff in. Let's start hitting it a bit harder. If you see me wandering a bit, it's because I'm going to try and get to this sort of apex right here. I'll just sort of start at this corner and come up. Yeah, already a huge change, huge change. And you'll notice I'm swapping around from one bit to another. And that's just sort of the methods I've found best. You find an area, it becomes a bit stubborn, so you'll dab a bit more paint stripper on it, let it soak in, go back to it after. Or you'll go ahead and change your Scotch-Brite from one thing to another. And yeah, sometimes we've got to press real hard just on some certain areas. And actually I did get a bit too heavy in some areas, and I did actually wear through the white. But what I can do is show you the tailgate later, and you can see where the whole van is missing paint through. It's just like sun fade. Actually works quite well as a patina. Porsche 901 says hi. Porsche 901 says 73 bus. No, this is 69. It's a 69 bus. I'll take you for a tour later if you hang around. Right, if you are watching this and you do like what you see and you're new to this channel and new to what we do, please be sure to just give the phone screen a double tap. That gives a little thumbs up like up here that I can see on my screen. Or if you pop up in the top right hand corner, there should be 3 dots, and then that will give you access to the like button or the thumbs up button, maybe even the channel subscribe button. That would be really, really cool if you could do that for us, because we're so close. As a channel, we're so close to 100,000 subscribers. And then we get a play button, which is mad, right? Right, so I'm putting a bit more of this paint remover in the tub. I'm going to keep ourselves stocked up and getting back on it. We're making pretty good progress today. And from what I can tell, it's actually quite thick on this van. So hands up in the comments, or leave a Christmas tree in the comments. Have you put your Christmas tree up yet? Christmas tree in the comments if you have put your tree up. We did it today. I explained earlier, but for the first time ever, we put it up in November. And if you are a camper van person, you've got your own camper van. Have you been out this weekend? Are you going away further in the year? Are you doing any winter camping? I've got a winter camp coming up with Urban Arc Overland, or the UAO channel. I've been invited to a winter camp up in North Wales. That's happening in a couple of weeks' time. And if I know anything, that's going to be really cold up in North Wales in December. But it should be pretty rad. I look forward to it. Was that VW painted with Crayolas? No, it's definitely painted with a brush at one point, but this is aftermarket paint. It's the white original paint we're trying to get back to. Goggy says, are you aware of the new card payment machine regulations? I've got to contact the machine people tomorrow. I'm just going to be doing a little bit of that later, I think. Now you've made me aware. I'll have to double check the regs later. All right, slowly working our way down. We were up here earlier and now we've done this much. That's quite good. Sean Croswell, just been doing a little bit of work on my Kangoo micro camper. Nice. Porsche 901, 69 range was Type 3 and Type 4 Beetle and 181. Yeah, pretty much, but this had, I think this had a 1500cc twin port when it was new. Definitely tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm no Bay expert, that is for certain. Especially not a year and engine spec kind of expert. But I do have a 1600 twin port that I've sourced, ready to go into this with upright fan shroud and everything. So it will be fairly similar to what it had, and I'm definitely keeping it air-cooled. That is for sure. Now, this is getting a bit stubborn around here. Now I wonder, yeah, I'd say this paint was definitely, I don't know, it seems weird. Was this paint on before it was damaged or after it was damaged? In some cases it looks like it was painted after it had all this damage. Don't know. That one's done. Cutting up more, cutting up more. Got no money at the moment. Oh, sorry. VW must be a thing with the blue buses. Seen that Volkswagen are restoring the blue VW bus that survived the LA fire. Sorry. Only bugwit. That's not how you rub bodywork down. No shit, Sherlock. I'm not trying to rub the bodywork down. If you watched at least 2 minutes before making your comment, or waited another 5 minutes, you'll see what I'm actually doing is trying to remove the blue paint. In fact, someone in the comments tell him. Ace of Pirates is still on a VW bus. Yes. Porsche 901. Dove blue was a common colour back then. Yeah, absolutely. Dove blue is a favourite colour of mine. Sorry, guys, can I just ask, is this how I prepare bodywork? Can someone confirm that? Holy Moses. All the armchair experts out there, eh? I'm just a guy doing this in his garage. Having fun. Sharing it with the world. So, let's wipe down this bit. Let's show everybody what we've been up to. Where's my cloth gone? Where's my sponge? There. Right, so now, after scrubbing the van with paint stripper and Scotch-Brite, I'm rinsing it off with clear water or just normal regular tap water to neutralise the paint stripper and clean the bodywork. Now you can see what we're trying to achieve is not preparing the bodywork. What's his name? Only Bugwit. Oh, thank you, Rick Watman. Don't forget your tea, you're right. The amount of cold brews I drink in a day, that's for sure. There you go, look. Another bit done. That's quite substantial progress today, I think. What do you think? It's pretty cool. How long you been doing live streams, says Derek Hunt Artist. Do you know what? We've actually been doing live streams on and off for about 3 years, but it's only in the last year or so that I've been doing them semi-regularly, and only in the last 3 months I've been doing them kind of every Sunday. You know, I'm a busy dad of 2 who runs a business. Sunday evening is the only sort of day I get. So that's why I do it and hang out with you guys. Right, hang on. Let's get these gloves off because I've been reminded about my tea. So I'm going to go and do it. Porsche 901 says, Just Campus is a godsend for parts. Yeah, them and Heritage. I tend to use Heritage a lot more for my parts. Taxi Driver says, at the end of the day, when finished, it'll look fab. Thank you very much. Ace of Pirates. I like the old designs like the VW bus. Wish they used inspirations from those instead of these soulless designs. Yeah. Derek Hunt Artist. Do you find it worthwhile? Do you know what? I do. I do find doing live streams worthwhile. Do you know what? Because we don't upload a long form video on YouTube at the moment that much, purely because my work schedule's so busy. We used to do it once a week. But because work's so busy, I don't get to do a full long form video every week on YouTube. So to keep people interested, to keep the channel active, and just get the views up and the subs up, I like doing a live, and I continue to get that. I continue to have that interaction with my subscribers and things like that. So if I can do that for an hour every week, I think it is really, really worthwhile. So thank you for asking. Taxi Driver says, is anybody building brand new splitty vans from panels? Yeah, they are actually. Porsche 901 says, same here, I live in Kent, so drive down every 3 weeks. Derek Hunt Artist says, really interesting to hear your perspective. No, thanks, man. I do appreciate that. And no, it is a weird one, isn't it? Like, it's nice to hang out with you guys. Gonna have my tea and make my legs wake up because, you know, I'm no spring chicken anymore, so got to get the blood flowing in my knees. Yeah, keeping the video active. Just having a good time with it, really. I just enjoy the interaction. Sorry, Taxi Driver. Yes, there are people building brand new splits from body panels. It's crazy. Ace of Pirates, what do you think of the ID Buzz? Love the ID Buzz. I had one on a test drive for 24 hours. Wicked little thing. But it is the first electric vehicle I'd ever driven, so it was all such a novelty to me. But as a van, too small. If I wanted a van that size, I'd get a Caddy. They're a weird crossover, but I don't think they're going to be a huge hit, sadly. Are you bringing merch down to the State event? Loving the cap. Yes, we have merch down there. We've got t-shirts, we've got hats, we've got beanies, and we're bringing lots of other bits and pieces from the shop as well. Narcis P-A-U-N, Porn, I guess, 5703 says hello from Romania. Good evening. What else I've said? Yeah, Sean says, really love the cap. Will you be bringing some merch to the stage? Yeah. Sorry, I missed your comment earlier. That was cold. Right, so I think, what have we got? 49 minutes. I normally do this for an hour. So it doesn't matter if we go over the hour, but let's get this bit done from here to here, right? So from the rocker cover up to this point, what's that? 8-10 inches worth. And it's going to be quite easy because most of the paint's gone anyway, but it's going to be a really nice transformation. Let's see if I can bring you down a bit on the old tripod. And then we can all do this together then, eh? Maybe bring you a touch closer. Got to excuse the light. There you go, just this bit here. What do you reckon? Right, gonna put my gloves on. Ace of Pirates says, I like that it has a Type-C charger for every doorbin, yeah. Taxi driver says, I was always told best to make, do and mend things. Give things a second chance, second life rather than throw away and buy new. Yeah, we don't have any new cars. In fact, the newest car we have is a 2022, and that's because it's my wife's daily, and it's a really good van. And you'll find that on the channel. If you go to the Combe Valley Campers channel, our latest build is my wife's T6.1, and we built that together on the channel from a straight up panel van that we bought at a van specialist here in East Sussex, and converted it over a year on the channel, and now it's my wife's daily, and we've taken it to Europe 3-4 times now. Great car. Oh, and by the way, have a look at our social media and our website coming up. We've got some Black Friday stuff coming up very soon. So if you're on your build or you wanted some merch or anything else, we've got some Black Friday stuff coming up. It's the first time we've ever done a Black Friday, but we've got some stuff that I think you'll appreciate. So yeah, keep an eye on the website, keep an eye on the social media. It's going to be a good one. Look how quickly that's coming off. Turning to white already. So it should make quite an impact, actually. A lot of it's just rusty crap. But bearing in mind that was brown at the beginning of the video, it's a pretty cool transformation. God, that's a thick ridge of paint along there. Where are we? Have you put your Christmas tree up yet? Yes, we have, yeah. Hang on. Sean says, your wife's building is an excellent series, very informative for anyone building a van. Thank you. Yes, Desmond McClinton, I have put my tree up, did it today. Ace of Pirates says, but the problem with old cars is security like airbags, backup camera, stronger body, etc. Very true. I watched the build of the van. It was very good entertainment. Thank you. Narcissus Porn says, use a Vrinda. Okay, on what? David McCannon says, why don't you have it dipped? Because I'm trying to save the paint, not strip it all down to metal. Ace of Parrot says, I mean, if I have the money, I would buy one of those that they'd add options to old cars, especially Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Do you know what? You can still add those things nice and discreetly. So that's what I will be doing on this. You know, you can have in-car amplifiers that don't have a head unit display, they just have Bluetooth. Things like that. Apple CarPlay I'm not fussed about. Thing is, people get used to them in their modern cars and then they like it in their classic cars, and sometimes it's just not feasible. A classic car is a classic for a reason. It's nice to have some, what do we want to call it? Some little luxuries, I guess. But in reality, you build and drive an old car for that old car experience, don't you? There's a really thick ridge of blue there. Right, let's put some more stuff on it. Give it a go. Maybe a little bit left on that one. What's mad is there's no rhyme or reason or pattern to any of this patina. I guess it's just the environment it was sat in at the time. Someone says, use an electric buffer. I will. I've got to strip the blue paint off first. Taxi driver says, cats have just jumped all over me. Do you have any cats? I don't have any cats. VW says, that's why I still got wind down windows. Yeah, my dad used to use maps to find his way around, but without Google Maps, he literally can't drive between cities or even a city anymore. It's essential. Yeah, absolutely. Rick Soto, a couple of years, you should have it. Well, I've been on it a couple of years and I nearly have got it. I'll show you later. If you hang around, we'll do a little tour at the end. But you're right, it's a very long-winded, labour-intensive, but rewarding process. Some people will hate it, but it doesn't matter to me because it's my van. There you go, you see the dust and grime and dirt and everything else that's coming out of that paintwork as well as that blue. Right, I'm going to rinse that down and then just this last bit here, I think. Look at that all coming back white. Remarkable. Big lump of blue there. I might have to chip that off later. Look how much of that white's come back. Nuts. And then what I'll do later is I'll get in this ridge here. I'll get in there with like a little screwdriver or a pick tool or something. Just a bit more detailed, less exciting, but also still very satisfying. Right, I think, yeah, just this last bit here. Now what's interesting is some of these areas have got primer on. There's a grey primer underneath, which is making it a little bit more tough to get the blue off because the primer's done its job and actually adhered the paint to it, which is kind of cool, but makes it a bit tougher for me. But the amount of white that's coming back is pretty remarkable, really. All of these years hidden under this blue paint. It's just waiting for me to get it. So my dream would have been to actually have this, strip this out and there be some like original sign painting underneath, sign writing. Never found it. Yeah, but to have a van with some original sign writing underneath would be the absolute dream, wouldn't it? Then that really would be a labour of love, stripping off enough paint to make sure the original comes through but doesn't wear away the original sign writing underneath, huh? Right, this area is going to need some more detailed work. You can see how beaten up it is. But if we just head to this last bit here and then we can do our final shot. I think we're just at an hour. What's next on the list, says V-dubbing. What's next on the list? I'm going to try and get all the electrics working, because what I'd love this to do is to be able to drive out of here, however crazy that sounds. Now that'll just be getting an engine in the back, getting it fired so it can move under its own steam. It's not going to drive down the street. But yeah, for the purposes of moving this vehicle around in the future, and also when something's running, it just keeps the incentive up, doesn't it? If it's just sitting in your garage on blocks, or you know, you've got no way of starting it up, hearing it, moving it, there's no incentive to move forward there. So I think the next thing I'm going to work on is the electrics. I was going to do it today actually, but we ran out of time. At home, I mean. But yeah, work on the electrics. I've now got a steering column. I've got a steering column with a key. Not that it's the original ignition barrel, but I've got a steering column with a key. I've got an indicator switch. I've got lights. I've got wipers. I've got a new windscreen. I've got most sort of things, and I found an engine with a gearbox. So if I can get this thing at least moving under its own power, even in this rough state, I think that'd be good fun. Right, nearly at the bottom. And again, I'll show you one of the real reasons why I found this, or why I bought this, because it's so damn solid. It's so solid, this thing. You don't find UK buses with sills or rockers this solid. And it's just a joy to work on. Although it's got surface rust, it's not like flaking away in your hands like a lot of British buses. And I've seen buses repainted in the last 5 to 10 years that are already rusting away. And this thing just doesn't have that. It's so solid. Which means it's worth working, despite its appearance. And I guess that's why I'm reviving this paint, because if I wanted it straight like a show car, or like a van to restore and sell, I'd have to remove all these panels. And if I remove them, they're not original. And if I remove them, they'd never be as strong as the originals. Right, I think that's pretty much going to do us for today, people. Right, let's get that last bit. There's one drip under there, which is annoying me. And it's like a spot on an otherwise beautiful lady. Nope, I'm going to have to pick at that one as well. Not the spot, but that bit of blue paint. Right, I'm going to wash this down. Right, taxi driver says, I wonder why they painted it. Change colour. Sean says, was it parked in ivy or brambles? Almost looks like the vegetation was attached to the lower half of the van. Don't know. In fact, under the chassis there are like vines or ivy shards in it, but you would have thought if it was parked in all that vegetation, the chassis would be rotten, and it's not. Taxi driver says, in the city of Bath on the old buildings you can see signage of trades written into the stonework. Some might be from 60 to 100 years ago. Yeah, we have that fair bit down here actually. Right, come on you, last bit off. Let's show the people. Show the people what we've got and how cool this is. Right, Ace of Pirates. It's solid, but the rust is probably deep inside that. With a small collision, it will break. Potentially. I look forward to having a look to see if that is the case. And if that is the case, we'll fix it. But, like I say, I don't know whether it was damaged on the road or whether it was pushed around a scrapyard for 20 years. We'll never know. But the areas that need welding, I will replace. That's for sure. Right, I'm going to take these gloves off. And we'll do a final walk around, I think, because that is just over an hour. And that's normally what we do here on the live channel. We do about an hour, so we can all get on with our evening. I'm now going to go upstairs. I'll do a bit of ironing for my kids' school. That's about it. Right, come on, glove. Cool. Right, are you ready? So, this is what most of the bus has looked like. I've done most of this side of the bodywork on lives, haven't I? And this is what we've done today. And this is what it was like when we started. So, we're nearly there, people. And now you can see just how punched in this back half is. But we'll get it straight. But yeah, to think what that looked like at the beginning of the hour. 1 hour ago, this area looked like this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this, this is me sort of hanging outside my garage door now. This is all the area I've done. There's that corner replacement that I spoke about earlier. And we've done all of this part, and I sort of stopped here. So you can see what colour this whole panel was. So that's what it was like. And that's what it looks like cleaned up. It's remarkable, isn't it? So I've managed to find lenses, both top and bottom. And this is the bad side. But I found a replacement bottom there as well. But yeah, I think she's going to look beautiful. And this is that top of that door. So that's where the grey has been in the sun. And it's just worn it all away. But yeah, it's so crazy how... That's a bad bit, but nothing too crazy. It's not gone right through. Even these window frames, on my 40-year-old car, they're rusted through. And on this, it's just deep pitting. Bonkers. And there you have it. We'll go around the front of the bus if I can just about show you. There you go, that's the face. And there's the steering column that you were asking about. Not completely bolted in, I just wanted to check it fits. But that's all in there, so that's new. Clocks were clocks I'd sourced. That's the old steering column. Seats are out. They need, one of those needs repairing. And I've started to clean up the inside. You can see where I haven't cleaned and where I have. So, yeah, kind of mad, isn't it? Really happy with that. That's come out so bright. And you just got the rest of that to do. I think it's going to come out lovely. What do you reckon? Well, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm going to plonk you just in here and we'll talk through the window. Thank you so much for joining in. I really, really appreciate you tuning in again. And we'll see you on Sunday. Like I say, take a look at our website if you are interested in camper conversion stuff. We're having some deals on moving up to Black Friday. And if you are local to here, on the 14th of December, we have our Campers and Coffee down at the Stade in Hastings. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe. We're nearly at that 100K. Thanks again. Bye-bye.